Hey YouTube, what's up? Welcome back to Prehistoric Companions. I'm Dylan. I'm a middle school science teacher by day, and in my off time, I'm a reptile keeper. So, if you're new to the channel and you like reptiles, consider subscribing. Today's a really exciting day. Finally, after 3 months of breeding my royal pythons, we got eggs on the ground. We have at least one clutch I checked this morning, and Hula, my bamboo ball python, finally laid some eggs. I didn't get a real good look at them. From what I could see, they all looked like really fresh eggs. I didn't see any slugs, so fingers crossed when we take a closer look here, they'll be really solid, healthy eggs. Hopefully we got a good sized clutch. I've got egg box set up here. With the perlite, the egg holders. Hopefully there's enough spots for all of the eggs. I've even got a side temporary holding enclosure for Hula, and if I know this animal, she might be a little feisty. When I first got her, she was actually pretty nippy, and it took a little bit of time to work with her to chill her out, but I think she might be particularly protective of her eggs. So let's get some gloves on. Let's try to not get bit here, and let's get these eggs. Before we grab these eggs, I'll have to get you guys a little caught up on all the other things. There's been a lot going on around here. Fortunately, right now I'm on a 2-week spring break, so I have a chance to really dive deep and try to hash out some of these projects that I've gotten started on. I've been customizing enclosures, and left and right we've been having babies around here. My buddy Gabe in El Paso from Roth's Reptiles, not only did he bring me this really amazing rack and all these enclosures, but he also brought me a starter colony of rats, and they've been all having babies, so we'll go check out some mice and rat babies, and I'll do full-length videos on all these, the enclosure builds and customizing that I've been doing, and the rats and the mice babies. So let's go check those out real quick. First here have Linguini's enclosure. This is my BCI boa. I built this tank about 2 years ago, and I've been redoing the waterfall feature. There are some things that just didn't look as natural as I'd like. I've been practicing my rock making and rock carving techniques and painting, so trying to make things look more naturalistic. The waterfall feature on this thing is gonna be amazing once it's done. The water's gonna come out from a little hole right here. There's a PVC pipe that feeds down to the pond area below. Water will come out, it'll come down this little channel, like little river, and then pour out through the branches and into the pond area below. You'll have a little see-through window so you can see a Linguini swimming around in her pool. Trying to design this in a way to prevent hopefully more of the isopods. I did have some dairy cow isopods in here, and they all end up going into the water feature and drowning, so I'm trying to design it more so that they have more land versus water, and hopefully they won't go in there and drown and die. I'm particularly happy with this build. I've been working on this 20-gallon enclosure for my giant African bullfrog. Female, so she's not really that big. She's maybe about 4.5 inches in diameter, so this enclosure is plenty big enough for her. So she'll have her little land feature here with a heat pad on the side. So she'll be able to burrow a little bit down in the substrate and climb out over the ledge and enter the water feature here. Similar to Linguini's enclosure, we'll have a waterfall, some water. I have a pump that I'll need to build a special pump down here to disguise it and build it, make it look natural into the scenery, but also easily accessible. It'll feed water up, pour out through here. Pretty cool waterfall. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting pretty good at building this rock here, just the naturalistic, really been studying rocks and just trying to mimic nature and having the right cracks and trying to just not really think about it too much when I'm carving the foam, just trying to keep it organic. I just made this foam, so next I gotta mix up my mortar. I've been using this Quick-Rite outdoor mortar, but this stuff isn't as sticky as the indoor tile mortar. I'll show you what I've been using too. So I'll mix this. I've also been mixing in this concrete bonding adhesive, so this will also help with prevent water from seeping into the concrete mortar itself. I mix in just a little bit of this Quick-Rite all-purpose sand, washed sand. Gives it a little bit more coarse, natural texture. Then I've also been using this floor tile mortar. This makes it real sticky, real thick, and it grabs onto the foam much better. So without this, it just doesn't have the same bite. It just falls and slips right off. Once the grout's all dry, I seal it with this Eco Protect. So non-yellowing, UV resistant. This is environmentally friendly, satin sheen. So I already have one layer coating of that sealer on here, but with the water part here, I'll need to probably get resin and seal this, really make this waterproof here. Yeah, we'll do a full-length video on this tank. Then we'll have to get you guys all caught up with my whole mammal breeding. I got my mice, I got all kinds of mice now. They're breeding crazy. All of the rats had babies. I started with 12 and now I suspect I have over 80, so they're doing great. You see some babies there. They're actually about a week old and they're already gotten some fur and patterns going on. What in the heck, dragging your babies all over the place? Look how stinking precious these things are. Okay, we'll get some gloves on here, so try to keep everything sterile. Have a nice clean working surface. Had some diluted bleach water and clean that down real good. Definitely want to have everything nice and clean, have your egg box nice and clean. We don't want any like real bacteria and mold to possibly ruin our clutch, so everything's nice and clean. All right, let's take a look, you guys. I'm so excited. Perfect. So far, she's got a good wrap on these eggs, so let's see if we can very carefully unwrap her. So far, ooh, a little reactive. She's doing actually really quite well. So far, all look to be really healthy eggs.
Ooh, hello, Mama. You did so good. Whoa.
Woo! She got my heart pumping a little bit there as I halfway through transferring her to her box shoes started to look at my hand quite quickly, but oh my God, this is exactly what we want here, you guys. We have 2, 4, 6, 7 big eggs. These are all like huge. Oh my God, how did she have those in her? Ooh, guys, my heart is like pounding so much right now. Like, my goodness, this is so cool. Well, it's oh my gosh, wow. Ooh, I'm shaking. Look how beautiful, guys. This baby ball pythons. This is a bamboo female to a banana chocolate cinnamon. That male was Brian Barczyk's personal breeder royal python, so I cannot wait. There's a 1 in 16% chance that I can hit all 4 genes, but I don't know. I'm not gonna get my hopes up too high, but I cannot wait to see what these babies are gonna look like. Okay, our next step here is to very carefully separate these things. These were laid maybe in the last 12 hours, so hopefully they're at a point where they're not too hard to separate, but we'll just very gently start trying to peel away from each other. Go. Here's one. So we want to peel them because we don't want to potentially, if one egg does end up getting mold on it, we don't want that mold to transfer to the rest of the eggs. So at this stage, we try to separate them. And also gotta try and keep them facing up, unlike chicken eggs that need to rotate constantly for proper development. These need to remain like still, and they need to remain facing up. If they move around too much through incubation, they're just not gonna develop properly. And once we get them all separated here, then we'll candle them, which is essentially just taking a bright flashlight, a very luminous flashlight, and shining it through to see where the embryo is on the egg. And then we'll mark it with a Sharpie, and we'll know that that is where the embryo is. It needs to be facing up, and we'll get them all set up nice and pretty in here. So far there's one. Going very slow here. We don't want to tear the eggs. Ooh, the sooner you catch them, the easier they are to separate. Once the female they've been laid for too long, then they become quite difficult to separate. Okay, almost. Good thing I've had my incubator up and running that I checked this morning, actually before I discovered that Hula had laid her eggs, and it was holding a solid temperature, 90 degrees on both ends, all throughout the chamber, and about 70% humidity. There we are, folks, all separated. Okay, so we gotta speed this process along. I don't want to have these guys out for too long without having heat. So let's candle these real quick. Let's turn off the lights, see what's going on here. Oh yeah, definitely got some solid vein structures. I think I need a brighter light. Okay, there we go. Turn off all the lights here. Get it nice and dark so we can see. Really good sign seeing this vein structures in here. That's the embryo right there. See, like in the center, the veins are all spreading out from like one central point. And there's like a more solid kind of mass in the middle. So that's the top there. Whew, all right, lights coming on. Okay, so we'll get these like nice and situated, separated. These are such huge eggs. Might not be able to fit the lid on here properly, let alone the press and seal. So we want the press and seal to not necessarily be touching the eggs because moisture will start accumulating on the top, and we don't want water to be making like direct contact with the eggs. Looks like there's a couple eggs that are touching the top here. Wonder if I can press this down anymore. Okay, I think that'll do. We get these in the incubator. We'll check on them like once a week, once every other week. We don't want to disturb them too much. We'll put the lid and let's go get these in our incubator. Alright, our next order of business is to get Hula's house all clean. We want to detail clean this. I'm going to toss all the old substrate. I don't throw this stuff away. I just put it in my compost and save it. It's March, so it's actually right about that time. I should start germinating some seeds for the garden and preparing the garden, so this is going to be really good for that. So yeah, we'll detail clean here, get the egg smell out of here, and hopefully she'll get back on food here and start getting her body condition back. She does look real skinny, so let's get this thing clean. Alright, let's go ahead and get Hula out of here. Hopefully she doesn't want to eat my face. I'm surprised. I really would have thought that she'd want to take a jab at me. She almost tried to towards the end there during transfer, but my goodness, look at this beautiful pattern. So this is just a bamboo. This is part of the blue eye leucistic complex. So with the right pairing, this could produce snakes that are all white with blue eyes. I won't have any bells, which is what they also call them, bells, blue eye leucistics. Won't have any of those in this clutch, but let's get Hula in here and then I'll show you Dad. Man, she is so light and skinny now, it's crazy. So then this here is the dad. This is Kakarot. He's a banana chocolate cinnamon, and this is one of Brian Barczyk's personal breeder royal pythons, so I cannot wait to see what their babies are going to look like. Well, you guys, that's gonna be a wrap for today's video. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. We're just at about, I think we're at like 1,430 subscribers. We're almost at 1,500, so hit that subscribe. And stay tuned, we got more clutches coming. Cleo, I think, is gonna lay probably sometime next week, so stay tuned. Citrus Pastel to Kakarot. We also got those enclosure build videos and rat updates, so stay tuned for all the prehistoric adventures coming. And with all that being said, my companions and I hope to see you guys in the next video.